Credit card delinquencies among Gen Z, people roughly the ages of 18 to 29, are now hitting levels that we haven't seen in more than a decade. Nearly 1 in 10 are now 90 days or more behind on their payments. So, what is causing this growing debt problem among younger people, and how can you avoid falling into the same trap? Let's get to money and business expert Derrick Kinney this afternoon for this. Hey, Derrick.
Hi, Jason. Good to see you.
It's always good to see you too, Derrick. Boy, this is not great news for some younger folks, because once you get behind, it's hard to not stay behind. So let's dive into this new data. It shows nearly 10% of Gen Z is seriously behind on credit card payments. So what is happening with this generation, Derrick? Why are they in so much debt?
Well, inflation has played a small part of that, but keep in mind, there's not a lot of financial literacy for this generation. A lot of them are sort of finding their way with money. They get their first job, they're leaving college, and often they're not prepared to manage money well. The other biggest thing, though, is they tend to buy now and not delay gratification. And often that costs them, because if they're spending money now and building debt, then you've got student loans to pay off. All of that converges to really create a negative financial situation as they're starting their lives.
Okay, so what is driving the increase in delinquency then? Is it, inflation? You mentioned that. Is it those buy now, pay later services? You mentioned that. Lifestyle choices? What is it in particular that's causing this the most?
Well, this buy now, pay later concept has become very popular, and it actually is contributing heavily to why this generation is falling behind. Keep in mind, this might be buying a coffee item to a retail item at the mall to something online, and it basically skips the credit card process, and you work out just a buy it now, and almost like a layaway, you're paying it off every single month or a couple times a month, and it doesn't report on your credit score in most cases. It allows people then to have a lot more debt, and then when they do use a credit card, that coupled with the fact you're probably behind on that, all of that adds to a situation where they simply can't keep up and they're falling behind.
Okay, so if somebody is already behind like that on their payments right now, Derrick, what is the first step that they need to do to get back on track again? Because it can seem overwhelming. So let's just do that first step. What is that?
Well, over-communicate is the key. If you find yourself in a situation where you've got the credit card bill, the buy now, pay later bill, and you simply can't pay it, the worst thing you can do is delay it, bury your head in the sand, and hope it goes away. You want to call them, DM them, go online immediately and say, look, I want to pay, but let's figure out a way to work out a payment plan. They want your money. What they don't want is to send a collection agency to you or to call you because it costs them money. So communicate immediately. That's the first step.
Okay, so let's close out with this, the biggest mistake. We always like to talk about that here. What is the biggest mistake that people make with their credit cards that puts them at risk for getting into that serious delinquency category, Derrick?
Well, the key is, if you're in debt right now, you've got to make changes. If you keep doing what you've done, you'll always get what you've always got. It's the basic business principle. So if you're in debt right now, you've got to make changes. Either begin to cut back on your budget or find ways to make more money. The bottom line is, if you do nothing else, set a goal and say, by this time, December 31st, I want to have X amount of debt paid off, and do everything you can to get that debt lower. That's going to be the key to financial success for you in the future.
Okay, Derrick, thanks for the great advice on this today. I mean, it's not somewhere you want to be, especially early on in life, because it just takes you so long to catch up. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jason.